In the least surprising Kash Patel news ever, Kash Patel travels with personalized bottles of Woodford Reserve bourbon. And the bottles are engraved with K.A. $H Patel, FBI Director. That's right, he's got a $sign instead of the S. There's a FBI shield, the number 9 because Kash Patel's the 9th FBI Director. And he travels with cases of these bottles. In Quantico, in March, at the FBI training facility over there in Virginia, during a training seminar that was being run by UFC cage fighters, for whatever that's worth, a bottle went missing. And Kash Patel, the very mature man that Donald Trump put in charge of the entire United States domestic intelligence apparatus, lost his damn mind. And he threatened to polygraph employees and threatened to prosecute them over a missing bottle of bourbon that he grifted, presumably from American taxpayers. And this week, MS Now reported that he is ordering actual polygraphs on more than 24 current and former members of his security detail and staff. 24, to find out who's leaking stories to The Atlantic about him. And Kash Patel has gone from a comedy of errors to a pure public danger. And if you remember The Atlantic on Wednesday of last week, Sarah Fitzpatrick, the journalist, she is being investigated by the FBI for reporting on the FBI, did another story on Patel, this time on Kash Patel's bourbon habit, on these personalized K.A. $H bottles, the missing bourbon in Quantico, his meltdown, and the polygraph threats. And then you hear from a 20-year retired FBI agent named Kurt Siuzak. He's going on the record saying, I tell people to run from him, to run from the FBI director. And according to these reports, there are sources coming out that Kash Patel has been polygraphing 24 of his security detail and staff because he's in a panic mode to save his job and to find leakers and find all of these leakers among his team. But this isn't the first time, because according to MS Now, he did this months ago when he wanted a personal gun. He wanted a firearm, and he went public. That story of him panicking over wanting to carry a gun. So he went out there and polygraphed a bunch of FBI agents. Then he loses bourbon, and they get polygraphed again to silence leaks about his own disgusting behavior. And there may be more that we didn't hear leaked. And now this reporting has the best story of all. Patel has allegedly walled himself off from senior bureau leaders. He is so paranoid about who's leaking to journalists that he's hiding from his own deputies. And there are sources, 3 at least, telling MS Now that he is shutting senior leadership out of his meetings, out of his communications, and out of his decision workflows. So now this agency is being run by a man who doesn't trust the people around him, and he's ordering lie detector tests to find out who they are. And we're covering this, by the way, we've covered this in another video, but I want to remind you that the FBI Insider Threat Unit over in Huntsville, Alabama, is opening a criminal leak investigation into the Atlantic reporter Sarah Fitzpatrick. Federal agents, they're not investigating the people who leaked the information. They're investigating the journalist because she reported on that information, giving 0 classified information in her report just about Kash Patel's drinking habits. This has historically required a real risk to national security. This is just a risk to Kash Patel's fragile ego. And this is nuts. And by the way, Kash Patel, he's suing the Atlantic for $250 million, and he's sicking the FBI insider threat units on reporters, and he's polygraphing his own employees. That is who's leading the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And by the way, a defamation suit? He keeps saying all of this stuff is false. It's not. Because if it was, there would be no suit. None. Absolutely none. We are going to keep covering Kash Patel and all of his bourbony headlines. And that's why I need you guys to hit that notification icon, hit the bell, and make sure you get notified every time we do a story like this.